Aloha, everyone. This is Tasha on Maui here with Gentiana Susaj, and she is from Albania. So welcome, Gentiana. Nice to have you.
Hi, Tasha. Nice to meet you. And thank you so much for this space, for the invitation.
Yes, of course. So how are things going over in Albania right now?
Well, like in many countries of the world, we are still with a lot of limitations because of COVID. And this has made things more difficult for everyone in terms of how they handle their day-to-day life with the normal challenges in terms of family life, public life, about their jobs. So nothing is the same anymore.
Yeah, well, that's all around the world. Now, I want, before we delve into what's happening now, I just wanted to get a little bit of background information for the audience on you, because you're just so unique, and I've watched all of the work that you're doing. You have an Aikido background, but what were you doing before ESD? What were you doing before empowerment self-defense?
Yes, I've been working for about 20 years on refugee migration and anti-trafficking in human beings issue. My profile is a lawyer, so I've been working in Latin America and Europe, dealing with the most crucial aspects of defending human rights, which is through legal framework, the national referral mechanisms, systems for the protection of victims of abuse and violence with a strong gender component. So I've been mostly, before I was working mostly in terms of improving the institutional response when the situations of violence had already occurred, okay? And or when prevention was done through measures such as awareness raising campaigns or other traditional ways for us to prevent that victims would be in situations of violence or abuse. And gradually, without even realizing, I'm here today doing something completely different, which is not from a response point of view, but is from an action for victims to be for potential victims to be empowered before that situation happens, or if they are in that situation of violence, they have the tools in order to respond to that, to act, react, tell, and not endure that kind of situation for any longer.
It's really amazing, all of the stuff that you're doing, and you just finished a graduation. So tell me a little bit more about that and the audience. You did an online course, but then there was some in person.
Right. Yes, given to the COVID situation and the lockdown we had here during the months of March and April, there were reports from the organizations and the institutions that respond to victims of abuse or domestic violence, that there was a higher number of people asking for help, especially women, of course. So given the circumstances, given that we couldn't have in-person trainings, in collaboration with UN Women and the support of the Embassy of Sweden in Albania, we tailored a program which was different from other times, empowerment through self-defense, but using an online methodology. So there were some preparatory steps for that, but it ended up to be a very useful program, which responded. We trained like 100 women and girls. It was only for women and girls. And after the online training, what we did that you have seen in the pictures was the graduation where we had a long session for physical techniques, given that online that is different. And at the end, we also broke the boards and had the certification, and everybody was so happy. And it was like a pilot project, but we realized, and we had all the testimonies from the girls, how useful this was and how important this was personally, in terms of the way they were feeling, added all the anxiety, all the anxiety and all the difficult time that they were and they are going through, right? Because of how the situation is.
Yeah, for sure. How much higher? I know that in the United States right now, domestic violence is up 30%. Do you know the statistical data in Albania?
Yes, in Albania it's 50%.
Wow.
So it is really high. It is really high. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are just a couple of suggestions for people watching if they are dealing with a domestic violence situation? What are certain things that they can do either to get out of that situation or get support?
Yes, every situation is so unique. So it's really hard to give a specific and clear instruction like do this or do that. And that is something that we have it very clear during our training sessions. So the objective during the training sessions is for women to see that they have multiple options so that they can choose what is best for them, for their unique, specific situation, right? Maybe sometimes they need time. They take a decision that, okay, I have to leave from this person, but depending on the level of risk, they might implement that decision immediately or a little bit in a midterm or in a long term. So it depends very much what the situation is, but what is important for them is to see that they have options and it's their right to seek their freedom and their safety. So it's so important to be in a network that can help them, that can support them, be that personal, like family or friends, or even ESD friends, environmental friends, through the circles that we try to, what's the word in English, that we foster during the training, but also through professional support, right? So what we provide is also an information regarding organizations that are specialized and work with cases of domestic violence, so that at the end the person can take their own decision. The woman takes her decision and realizes that safety is first and that well-being is first. And if she's not good, nobody around her will be good either, because this is their concern sometimes, right? They don't want to leave their husband, although he might be an abuser, because they're afraid what will happen to the family, what will the people say. That's how it is here in Albania. And there are difficulties in terms of economic situation, dependency that sometimes they have from their husband and so on. So it's really a complicated situation, and therefore support is needed for them to take the right action at the right time.
Definitely. Yeah. And we have the same issue in the United States with women who, trying to make that decision. It is different with different cases and, different scenarios depending on history or mental health and where everyone's at. How how supportive is your government? I know that in the United States right now, women's movements, there's a lot that's going on when it comes to women's rights and the fear and worry about losing certain privileges that we have had to fight for to get, and now they could be compromised. I'm just wondering in Albania what it's like there when it comes to women's rights and if they are getting certain support that they need.
Right. Well, depends from where you see it, because if you see the legal framework here, it's wonderful. It's really, you have everything there, everything you need. It's really very good. The difficulties, the challenges are the implementation of this legal framework and the culture that people have. No matter what the law says, you have some family rules, you have some rules in the village, things that you can and you cannot do because of tradition. So that is a real challenge. That is the need that we have right now, is how to work with the communities to change the mindset, right? Because that is the difficulty, the obstacle that is put to limit women and girls in their day-to-day life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to this work, was there a specific event that made you decide that you wanted to go down this path, or was it something that just fell into your lap?
Right. So, okay, no, it was a gradual process, you know, because when I was living for many years abroad, not in Albania, and there is where I was working as a consultant for international organizations, and later on as director of an NGO. And the work was really intense. So I could barely have a disconnection. I would arrive late to my house, and I was feeling stressed with all the things that were happening. And fortunately, I tried an Aikido class because of my two sons, and I loved it. So I jumped into Aikido class, and that really helped me to deal with all the difficult professional situation that we're going through. It's morning here.
Yes, night here, as you can see.
Right. So, as the sun comes, I met Aikido, and I'm very happy for it. And when I came to Albania, there was no Aikido dojo. So, with the encouragement of my former Aikido friends, I started an Aikido dojo in Albania. And I was the first woman opening an Aikido dojo, but also opening a dojo in Albania. So it was really challenging. I was not that young at that time, so people were saying like, why are you doing this? You know, like, because, you know, with the idea that there is a specific time you have to start new things and a specific time to change your profile. And I'm so happy that I did it, because there is no rules for that. So when working and seeing people coming to the dojo and what meant for them and the change that would bring, then I thought about sharing some of these skills when it comes to well-being and safety with victims of trafficking that were in the shelter of some NGOs that I knew. So I offered it more as a will to try it, and believing that this is an important process.
Yeah.
And it proved to be very good, very important. And that is how it started, all the encouragement and motivation to look for something more solid, that I would have a proper training, because I didn't have it yet at that time. And that's how, looking and looking, I found ESD Global. And we met last year in New York together.
Yes.
And we had the proper training for that. And I'm so happy for the opportunity. I'm so grateful that I have this today. And yesterday I received the email confirming that I'm a level 2 instructor now, because of how many hours and the process that I've been going through so far. So I'm really happy for it.
Way to go. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's so wonderful, you know, something, because Aikido was my main style out of all the different styles that I have studied. And I just feel like Aikido is one of those great styles that pairs so well with ESD. And there's just so many different tools that complement each other when it comes to that pairing. So when it comes to your dojo, is it open right now, or are people coming, or is that something that it's on hiatus?
Right. Yeah, it was closed for 6 months.
Yeah.
And we reopened it in September.
Okay.
We are taking care in terms of space, in terms of limited number of people, and some measures to make our practice as safe as possible. So we have started. I'm super excited for it and happy for it, but we'll see how it goes later on when the winter comes, because that's our biggest fear in terms of lockdowns and other limitations that may.
Yeah. Are you going to be doing another online course for people?
I will continue with online. The good thing is that now we can also do in-person sessions, and we will combine them as the need arises. But the good thing is that the methodology for online courses is pretty much consolidated. So I'm very confident about it, and I'm very happy that this is another tool that we have, no matter the COVID, no matter what the situation comes, when it is lockdowns or whatever it comes. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So how can people find you online? What are different avenues, your social media and your website?
Yes, we use mainly here in Albania, we don't use much websites.
Okay.
People consult mostly Facebook, which is ESD Albania. It's our account. And Instagram as well, ESD Albania. It's easy to find. And the good thing is that now I've started to have people from Albania that speak Albanian, not only the ones that live in Albania, no matter the city, but also people that are living in other countries. I have some students from London, for instance. So I'm looking forward to have more Albanians living in other countries that can join the online classes, because that is very much possible and useful in these kind of situations.
That's awesome. So check out the IG and check out her Facebook page. And Gentiana, thank you so much for coming on. And I look forward to having you on again and just hearing an update on how everything's going.
Thank you so much, Tasha. And I also follow all your social media. And yes, and we are very lucky to have you. So big hug from Albania, and see you, and I will be in touch for sure.
Thank you. You take care.
Bye then.